So you're looking to get into modding Conan Exiles, but you don't know where to start. Honestly, even just searching for mods when you're first starting can be a really overwhelming task. There are loads of mods out there. Some are good, some are bad, and some are definitely ugly. Today I'll be giving you a quick beginner's guide on how to get started with modding Conan Exiles, along with some tips that should help you to get over the initial technical growing pains. So without further ado, let's get started. The great part about modding Conan Exiles is that it's actually fairly easy. Rather than struggling to work out how to use a mod launcher or searching endlessly through your game files, Conan has Steam Workshop integration, making that first step into modding extremely easy. When you're on Steam, simply navigate to the Conan Exiles page in your game library, click Workshop, and you're ready to start browsing. The real issue here is where to start. There are tons of mods out there, but not all of them are worth downloading. For every good mod, there's another that isn't sufficiently developed, isn't of the best quality, or just simply won't work. My first step when I got into modding was to navigate to the most popular and most subscribed sections. Mods in these sections are generally quite reliable, in that they'll usually work quite well and they'll be of fairly good quality. You can also find good mods on the recent section, however recent seems to be a lot more hit and miss. Now, to start off with, I would only advise maybe getting 1 or 2 mods. Now, for me I usually run about 15 or 16 at a time, however I've been using mods for quite a long time now, and it's very easy to get overwhelmed by the new additions if you're not familiar with modding. I would definitely advise reading through the descriptions of any mods you're interested in before installing them. It can give you a much better indicator of what the mod in question adds to the game. To add them, you simply select the mod you want to use. In this case, we'll choose AG Architecture, and just click subscribe to download the mod. Before we look at how to activate the mod, there is something to bear in mind. Whilst many of these mods have been carefully developed to work on their own and with other mods, some of them simply cannot and will not work with others. If a mod is attempting to modify, remove, or utilise the same assets that another mod is using or trying to use, that's where you're going to run into some issues. For example, a mod that attempts to reskin base game armours will likely conflict with another mod that attempts to rebalance the stats of those armours, as they're both trying to augment the same items. The same is true if you're trying to run 2 map mods that both change the same area. Now, in my experience, these conflicts are rare, but they are very much a possibility. Fortunately, a lot of the more popular mods on the workshop have a lot of flexibility with other mods, so you'll hopefully not run into too many issues. So once we subscribed to and downloaded that mod, we now need to boot up Conan. When you start it up, you'll of course see the Funcom launcher that you usually see on PC, and this is where we select the mod that we want to use by navigating to the mods panel. Now, I've deselected all my mods, and if you're just starting, your list will be nowhere near as long as mine, but whatever mods you subscribe to and downloaded will be in the left side panel, whereas the right side panel is your active mods. To activate a mod, simply find it on the left side list, double click, and it'll move into the active tab. Then we simply launch the game and we're ready to go. So now we're in game and we are ready to start using the mod. Now, especially if you're new to it, I would advise loading into single player first to test out the mod and familiarise yourself with what it adds. When you load in, activate admin mode and you can start to play around with the mod you've added. In my case, AG Architecture adds building pieces, 1 shield and some resources. It's really good to know exactly what the mod adds, and even to play around with it, because you might decide you'd rather not use this mod. That is just a personal decision, but it is always best to know early. Many mods include a way to tell in the asset menu which mod adds which item. For example, with AG Architecture, you can see that all of the items it's added are highlighted with a golden circle. All of the items you've modded in will always be at the bottom of your respective item list as well. This indicator is different across various mods, however, some mods do not include an indicator. This is why I recommend jumping into mods slowly and steadily, to familiarise yourself with the mods you want to use and what they add. Also, do bear in mind that you do need to be careful with your mods. When Conan gets a title update, most mods will just break for a little while. It's just how mods work. It's not specifically a Conan thing, it's a modding thing in general. You'll have to deselect all of your mods so that you can play the game properly, and simply just wait for them to update. The longest it's ever taken me is about a week or so, I think. However, in the meantime, avoid any fully modded structures that you've built. If you've constructed something entirely out of modded assets, for example, if I'd made a massive castle out of the granite set from AG Architecture, and then I loaded it with no mods, the build would simply collapse. The same isn't true, for example, if you've built something in Argosian or Aquilonian and you happen to have decorated in modded style, but because the building pieces that you've used to build that modded build aren't in the game anymore, it will simply instantly lose stability and, of course, collapse. Unfortunately, that's just how the cookie crumbles with updates and mod compatibility, so if you know you're going to log into Conan right next to a lovely modded build, maybe wait until your mods have been updated so you don't lose all your hard work. And there we have it, a beginner's guide to modding Conan Exiles. Hopefully with this short guide and some of the tips I've given, you're ready to try out your new mods and open up a whole world of new content on Conan. If there's any more you'd like to learn about mods, feel free to let me know in the comments below. As always, you'll find all the links to my Twitch, Discord, Twitter, Patreon and NordVPN discounts in the description below, along with credit for the music used in this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I put out at least 2 videos a week, so there's always plenty of content to come. If you have any suggestions for future builds, I would love to hear them in the comments below. As always, a massive thanks to our patrons Sir Dialot, Randar, Connor, Blue Ivy, Velma, Torn, Eagle Rose and Maril224. Again, thank you very much for watching, take care, and I'll see you soon.